Hello and welcome, beloveds, to My Right to Heal, an inner journey to explore and heal yourself through writing. You know already, this is your girl, Sean Ellis, your facilitator for this course, also known as Coach Sean. And so I'm just super excited, as always, about this My Right to Heal journey, because for me, writing is such a sacred practice. And so that's how me personally have been able to, ever since I was a little girl, I just loved to write. I love to express my feelings and emotions and my imagination and my creativity through writing. And so somewhere along the way, I began to act out on a core belief of not good enough or unworthy or whatever the core belief I was reacting to caused me to begin to bury my emotions and bury my feelings and not even want to write them down. And so as I begin to pick up this sacred practice again and incorporate it into my daily spiritual practice, I begin to uncover layers within myself. I begin to dig up and excavate the emotions that were within me, and those words or emotions, feelings, thoughts, ideas that I wasn't able to express verbally, I was able to express them on paper. And so being able to get them out of our bodies will support us on our healing journey, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so as we've learned in the last couple of weeks that everything in our lives is there by energetic invitation, meaning we don't take ownership or accountability for what someone else does, but what happens is how we take ownership and accountability for ourselves is knowing that when we see ourselves and when we know ourselves and we know that there are some triggers within ourselves, when that person or that event or that thing comes in and hits up against that trigger, we know within ourselves, there is some energy that's stuck here. There is some emotional wounds. There is some emotional trauma or mental wounds that are still here. Some spiritual wounds that are still here because I have these triggers that's hitting up against my wounds. And so that's what we have been learning for the past 2 weeks. So I'm just excited about this week, because this week we're talking about being ourselves, and I'm introducing a new principle to support you on that journey. So wanted to share that really quickly with you. We all already know the routine, the practice in our course is the vision, intention, and prayer. So make sure that each week that you have a new intention about what it is that you want to experience as you're moving through this My Right to Heal journey, as you're moving through going inward, integrating these principles into your life, integrating these principles into every experience, into every upset in your life. And that's the beauty and the importance of these principles. It's not just to be seen on a screen. It's not just to write them in a notebook or in your inner healing journal. It's not just for you to write them there. It's for you to apply and to learn them and to integrate these principles into your everyday life. And when you begin to do that, healing is inevitable, because you're taking yourself on an inward journey to heal. It's your intention to heal. And so that's the beauty of integrating these principles into your life. So we're going to just move forward to our prayer of empowerment, which we do every single week. And so this week I integrated meditation. And so I want you to go ahead and get into a comfortable position, whether you are sitting in a chair, if you're laying down, you're sitting on the floor, wherever you are listening to this recording. Just get comfortable, close your eyes, Begin to slow down your mind. Begin to come more conscious of your breath. And I am going to play some meditation music. And I just want you to sit here for a moment as we cultivate inner peace, as we cultivate inner serenity, and as we cultivate the slowing down of the mind. And as you continue to breathe, beginning at the bottom of your feet, feel yourself getting more relaxed as the energy flows upward and throughout your body. The energy of peace is going to every corner, every inch, every cell in your body, depositing pockets of peace, of serenity. See, feel, and imagine, intended to be so, that there is a yellow light that is outlining your entire body. As it vibrates, as it pulsates, knowing that with each vibration, it's radiating the energy of peace throughout your body. Now let us take 3 deep cleansing breaths. In through the nose, and then drop the breath. When we drop the breath, we release all toxins within our bodies, anything that no longer serves us. Let us take another deep cleansing breath in through the nose and drop the breath. And let's take one more deep cleansing breath in through the nose and drop the breath. And as you begin to breathe at your normal pace, your eyes are closed, and in your mind's eye, imagine before you a candle, a blue candle, and a blue flame. Blue represents the power of peace and the power of speaking your truth, expressing your truth, being your truth. Continue to breathe. And allow your mind's eye to focus on this candle as I read the prayer of empowerment. Right here in this space where I am, all is whole and complete. I am one with the divine power who created me. I have access to all things good, and all that I need is already within me. Whatever I need to know now, I call it forth in this perfect place in time. I allow the sacredness of this divine wisdom to flow through me to manifest the will of the Almighty Creator. I accept and experience the beauty of my empowered path, knowing that every step I take is working together for my good. I give thanks for this and for so much more. Let it be so, and so it is. Continue to breathe and focus on the blue light, the blue flame, the power of peace and expression. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes as we move forward in this course, in this week of being ourselves. All right, beloveds, continue to breathe as we move forward. I know that after the meditation, we're all relaxed. We're all feeling all serene and all peaceful. And so now we're going to continue our inner work. And so let's review last week's principle, the principle of ownership. And so there is an ACIM lesson, a Course in Miracle lesson that says, I'm never upset for the reason I think. And so I took that a little further to, I am never upset for the reason I think, and I am willing to explore myself on a deeper level. So ownership last week was talking about taking ownership of our feelings and our emotions and really not reacting to things out there, but knowing that everything in our lives is there by energetic invitation. So everything that I shared before we did our meditation, that when we get upset, when anything comes in to upset or disrupts our peace, anything that comes in to make us believe that we're unable to stand in and speak our truth, we're never upset for the reason that we think. It is our opportunity, our divine opportunity to own how we feel, own our emotions, and to really get to the core of why is it that we've allowed this thing to disrupt our peace. And so that's what ownership is about. And that's what this week is all about, is being ourselves. And so the next level to ownership is responsibility. And so that's what this week's principle is, responsibility, to support us in being ourselves. And so responsibility, what is it? Simply, responsibility is the ability to respond. Simply, it is the ability to respond. And respond is a key word because I didn't say react, right? I didn't say react. React is when we go off of our feelings and emotions and we're at the surface level and we just go off, we blow up, we explode Has anyone ever said to you, or have you ever said to yourself that, okay, that you really overreacted to this small minor thing after you've reacted to it, right? That you realize that, that was really small. Maybe I shouldn't have reacted that way. And if we go back to the quote or to the ACIM lesson, is we're never upset for what we think we are. That's the surface thing that we're reacting to. That's the thing that's hitting up against the energy that's stuck within us. That's the thing that's hitting up against the trauma, the mental or emotional or spiritual wounds that are still open and unhealed within us. That's really what we are reacting to. However, it is our responsibility that we respond in a way that's mature. We respond in a way that's more supportive to us. We respond in a way that will support us in moving beyond the upset and going to a deeper level within ourselves so that we can heal, so that we can grow, so that we can begin to live better lives. And so there's another quote that I love, which is from the Grail Message, and it is, "The mind will always argue against change." Some of you may be listening to this course right now, and your ego is up, and the mind is like, I'm not taking responsibility for that. I was right in reacting the way I reacted. I'm not thinking about this. And so the mind will always argue against change, but the heart is more cooperative. And when you can facilitate small shifts in the heart that take place over a period of time, the changes will be more long-lasting and more fulfilling. This is another reason, intentional reason, why my course, my Right to Heal course, is 7 weeks, because we're integrating. Of course, I could give you all of these principles all at one time. However, when we take small shifts in the heart, when we integrate and apply these principles into our lives one at a time, to one experience at a time, then we're able to really integrate the changes into our lives to be more long-lasting, more fulfilling, and more effective. So as you're getting the principles, make sure that although you're writing them down in your inner healing journal, you're going through it with your experience, making sure that you practice the principles once you get them. Make sure you put them into practice so that you begin to reprogram your subconscious mind with these principles. All right. So let's go on to the next slide. We're in week 3. Week 3 is being yourself, or be yourself. So what is be yourself, right? Be yourself is personal integrity. I absolutely love personal integrity. This is a sidebar. Integrity is also a principle. Integrity. And so what does personal integrity mean? Integrity, first of all, means in its original state how the Creator made it, right? Integrity is ourselves, how our Creator made us. It could be a water bottle. Integrity, how the manufacturer made this. There's no cracks in it. Everything is as it should be. There's a measurement here. It's in its original form. It's still intact in integrity, right? And so our personal integrity is when what we think, what we feel, what we say, and what we do is all in alignment. It's all congruent with each other. And so as an example of being out of personal integrity, there was a time in my life to where I thought one way, I felt one way, but I would do another because I feared of being rejected. I feared being unliked. I felt that if I went along and said yes, that I would be lovable and I wouldn't become unlovable and people would leave and walk away. And so how I felt in my intuition, how I felt in my body, what I was thinking, no, I don't want to do this. No, I shouldn't do this. However, how I acted was, yes, I will do this. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I want to do this. And it was really a lie. And so I was living out of personal integrity and I wasn't being myself. And so I was wearing the mask. My favorite mask was a smile, right? The smile, the good girl. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I can do it. Yes, yes, yes. Until it really became like, okay, she's like a motivational speaker now. I was always upbeat, always up high, always, all that la 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 stuff, and really the real part of me got angry. I got upset. I got sad. I got disappointment. I experienced all of these emotions, but I wouldn't allow myself to outwardly experience it. And so when we experience things on the inside, they usually get buried and they get pushed down and pushed down and pushed down until we're not really being ourselves anymore. We're being the mask. We're being the representative that comes along with the mask. So this week is all about personal integrity and being yourself. So now, what are the essential characteristics of responsibility? You have involvement at every level of your being. Your mind, your spiritual level, your emotional level, and even your physical level. What we do, how we behave, how we show up. All right, what we're thinking, the mental level, how we're thinking, our emotional level, what we're feeling, our spiritual level. All of it matters when we're talking about responsibility. When we have responsibility, it demonstrates our courage and our self-trust and our respect of ourselves. It's an indication of the cause of all of our experiences. Everything in our lives is there by energetic invitation. I'm responsible. If I'm getting triggered by this thing, if I'm getting triggered by what this person is saying, if I'm getting triggered by what this person is doing, okay, how am I causing these triggers? There's something within me that I need to heal. There's something in me that I need to become aware of and acknowledge and accept about myself so that I can move towards ownership and taking responsibility to change it, to transform it. You see it? You see what I just did there? I need to become aware, acknowledge, accept, own it, and become responsible. Because I know that if I'm triggered by it, then there's something within me that's being triggered, right? There's something in me that's stuck. There's something in me that's unhealed. That's being responsible. And we're unable to fully be responsible if we're unable to fully become aware of a thing or acknowledge a thing, seeing ourselves, knowing ourselves, being ourselves. Yeah. The essential characteristics also is the opportunity to activate positive expectations and intentions, which we'll talk about that later on as we go through this course. It is a personal alignment with the law of cause and effect. Again, we are the cause and we are the cure. If it's happening outside of our world, if it's out there, then it's somewhere in here, because the world out there is reflecting what's already within us. Responsibility is a demonstration of self-discipline. And it also eliminates, I love this one, it eliminates excuses and habits for inaction. When we take responsibility, we can no longer put up or put out excuses. Right? It's either one or the other. We're either going to be responsible or we're going to be irresponsible. Either we're going to do what we say we're going to do, or we're going to put up excuses or habits for not doing what we said we're going to do. Right? So let's move on to the 6 elements of consciousness to develop and maintain a sense of responsibility. So I'm not going to go into much details about this just yet, because we're going to go through some levels of responsibility and then we'll get back to this. But I wanted you to have this on just one slide so you can go back later on to review them. So response able. We are all able to respond and not react because we have an intention, direction, action, reflection, correction, and redirection. And so I want you in your daily practice, your time alone with yourself, see which one of these are you having the most challenge with. Is it the direction? Is it the correction? Is it the redirection? Are you being reflective? Are you taking action? Do you have an intention? Do you know what you want to do or your desire to achieve it? And when you're looking at these and when you're really digging deep into yourself to see where you're having a challenge with it, make sure that you're not self-judging yourself. Look at these without judgment. Look at these without the blame game, or not blame game, the blame, the shame, or the guilt, right? All right, so now let's move on to the 4 levels of responsibility. I want you to take a breath because this is about to get deep. Every time that I go through the 4 levels of responsibilities, whether it's facilitating a workshop or speaking at an event, and I start talking about the 4 levels of responsibility, there's a challenge sometimes because we begin to see ourselves in what level of responsibility that we're willing to take. And so this is juicy good, it's yummy and delicious because it allows us to see ourselves, and again to see what level of responsibility that we're in and what level of responsibility are we willing to move ourselves towards, right? So the first level of responsibility is that I'm not responsible for anything that has happened or is happening to me. And so when we're at this level of responsibility, which is I am not responsible, it's an indication that we believe that life is happening to us rather than through us. It is a reaction rather than a response generated by a belief. And so when we're here, we're at this level, we're still resting on the core belief of being a victim. We have not released the victim mentality. We have not taken ownership for our choices. We have not taken ownership for how we feel. We have not taken ownership for our emotions. So we're now at a place to where everything is happening to me. Everything is happening to me rather than it's happening through me. And let me see how I can step into my power of choice. I can step into the power of ownership. I can integrate into my life acceptance so that I can move through and really change and transform my life. I am not responsible is level 1. Level 2 is I take responsibility for this particular moment, or in this particular moment. And so this level of responsibility is still a form of resistance because we're thinking about past experiences and events and people, and we're still neglecting to see ourselves as the cause. And so we see ourselves as the guilty one, or I'm always ashamed, or I feel bad, so nobody wants to step up, so I'll do it. I'm always the one that does everything, right? And so it makes us feel like we're powerless, which is another level of 3. But in level 2 is we're powerless. We feel guilty. Everybody blames us for everything anyway. And so nobody ever wants to do nothing. So I'm going to just take responsibility for this thing. And so we're relinquishing our power of choice. We're relinquishing who we be. We feel one way, we're thinking one way, but then we're acting and we're doing another. We're feeling one way and then we're saying and doing another. We're thinking one thing and we're doing another thing. So all of those combinations and all of that wahala is that you're not taking responsibility only at a certain percent that you're taking or willing to take responsibility. So incongruency usually happens at this level, level 2. Personal integrity is what we think, what we feel, what we say, and what we do is all congruent. And so at this level, it's incongruent because we may think one way and say another. We may feel one way and do another. And then allow ourselves to feel bad about if we don't, take responsibility, or allow ourselves to feel ashamed or guilty. And so we're guilted into taking responsibility, which really isn't responsibility at all, which really is about resistance and relying on the past. Okay. Now, step 3, I am responsible, but only in this moment. At this level of consciousness, there is a possibility for success when we explore the field of possibilities, knowing that it is limitless. Now we're moving towards, okay, this is a reflection of ownership and presence and willingness to address the 6 levels of awareness. And so here is where I share with you in a few slides up to see where in the 6 levels of awareness do you feel that you're having the most challenge in. And so when we set an intention, we know what we want and what it is that we desire. And so the next step is direction. What are the most appropriate steps? What am I willing to do in order to meet this intention? What am I willing to do to manifest this desire? What am I willing to do to achieve this goal that I set for myself? And it's really about knowing what the most appropriate steps are. The action piece is really putting into practice that you're doing what it is that you know that you should be doing, or that you know to do. You know the direction, you've written down the direction, but are you really moving your feet? Are you really picking up the phone to make the phone call? Are you really writing in your journal 30 minutes a day if that's what your goal or your intention is? Are you really doing the steps that you set out, that you wrote down as your direction? So then there's a reflection piece. What am I doing? What did I do? Or what didn't I do? So that's the reflection piece. And when we're able to reflect, then we're able to correct. How did we evaluate ourselves? Did it work out? Did making this phone call or saying this or having this particular conversation at this particular time, whatever it is, the action that you put into place, did it work? How did it work for me? And so if it didn't work, then how can I now go back, set some new direction, set some new action so that I can begin that process again if it didn't work for me? And so that's going into the redirection. How can I improve what it is that I've been doing? And so now the 4th level is I am responsible for everything. This right here is probably a challenge for a lot of us. It definitely was a challenge for me. I'm responsible for everything. Excuse me? Say what? I'm responsible for everything? Well, beloveds, I am responsible for everything does not absolve responsibility from someone else. It does not absolve accountability from someone else. What it does is it places us into the frame of mind that I am responsible for now transforming my life. I am now responsible for, I'm aware, I acknowledge, I accept what has happened to me. I own my own shit. And so now I am responsible for changing what it is that I don't like about my life. I'm responsible for changing what it is that I don't like about my life. I am responsible for changing everything that I don't like about my life. And so it is this level of consciousness that we're able to create the world that we see, because we're going within and we're healing and we're dealing with the things inside of us, and we're changing from the inside out. We're at a level of awareness. We're at a level of acknowledgement. We're at a level of acceptance and ownership that, okay, I am responsible for this. I'm taking back my power. I am no longer the victim. I'm responsible for changing this. I'm responsible for transforming my life. I'm not waiting for anyone to come in to save the day because I have everything that I need already within me. I have it all. I have everything that I already need that's already within me. So let's go back through these levels and see. You don't have to do it now. You don't have to choose one of them now. I want you to really think about this throughout the week. Where is it that you fall into the levels of responsibility? And then what level are you striving to be at? And so the first one is, I am not responsible. Life is happening to me. It ain't happening through me. 2, I'm willing to take responsibility for this particular moment. And I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm going to feel guilty about it because nobody else wants to step up and do it. So I guess I'll do it. Number 3, I am responsible in this moment. And so I'm willing to look at my intention, my direction, my action, my reflection, my correction, and redirect myself to doing the things that I really want to do, to really reaching and manifesting my intention and my desire. And so 4 is, I'm responsible for everything. I'm not absolving responsibility for anybody else. Everybody else has their own responsibility. They're accountable for what they do. I'm holding you accountable. I'm holding you responsible. However, for me and how I am moving through my life, I'm not waiting on anybody to change it for me. I transform and I change my own life because I go within and I change within, and that's my choice, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's the level 4, I am responsible for everything. And so this is the level that hopefully everyone is striving to get to at some point. We all don't get to it at the same time, and that's cool. That's great. That's wonderful because we're all on our own personal journeys. We're all on our own personal path. And so when we get to it is when we get to it, but be willing to do the work. Beloveds, be willing to go within. Be willing to have the courage to go within to do the work. And so responsibility is, you're self-supportive, you trust yourself, and it's a function of respecting yourself. You're supporting yourself, you're trusting yourself. I got this, girl. Talk back till you talk back, because the ego can show up. The ego mind does not want to change. It's going to resist. It's going to kick. It's going to buck. But then bring up your divine higher self, knowing that everything you need is already within you. Trust yourself. Talk back till you talk back. I got this. And as you're talking back till you talk back, as you're trusting yourself, you're supporting yourself by moving through the awareness, the acknowledge, the acceptance, the ownership, the responsibility. You're respecting yourself to be just who you are, owning your stuff, owning how you feel, owning your emotions, owning that you have the choice to say and do whatever it is that you want to say or do without the fear of disappointing someone, without the fear of feeling rejected, without the fear of feeling unloved or unworthy or undeserving. Respect yourself to be yourself, no matter what. No matter what. And so the most powerful affirmation you will ever find is this: I am as God created me. Be yourself. Again, it is the function of being in personal integrity. Doesn't mean that you're not willing or unwilling to change and transform, to learn, heal, and live better. It means that right where you are right now, that you don't have to pretend. You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to smile because you want to hide behind a smile that everything is fine, everything is okay, everything is good, when we know deep down inside that it ain't good. It ain't all good. I'm hurting. I'm disappointed. I'm sad. I have anxiety. All of that stuff. Just be honest and real about who you are and be who you are, knowing that right where you are is where you should be. because this is the place of growth. This is the place of learning. This is the place of healing. And so knowing your triggers, if we're triggered by something in this moment, not feeling guilty or ashamed about it or blaming ourselves or anyone else for that matter. This is all information that, okay, I'm triggered by something. I know myself. I see myself. I'm being myself. I know I'm triggered by what he said. I know I'm triggered by what she did. So let me go within to find out what it is that I'm triggered about, because I'm not upset for the reason I think. So let me dig a little deeper here so that I can break the cycle, that I can interrupt the thoughts, the limiting beliefs, the limiting patterns of behavior, so that I can what? Learn, heal, and live better. And I don't have to react, because I'm responsible and I can respond in a more mature way that's supportive to me, that's demonstrating my self-trust and my self-worth and my self-respect. So this is a week 3, be yourself. And the principle that's supporting you in being yourself is responsibility. That's the next building block of your spiritual principles, responsibility. And so I'm excited about the Q&A piece. So every single week, if you have any questions, make sure that you reach out to me. Send me an email with any questions that you have, and then I'll create a video answering all of those questions and send them out to everyone that's in the class, because you may have a question that one of your other sisters may have and just hasn't asked it yet. Or maybe you have a question that someone else hasn't thought of, but it triggers something with them like, oh yeah, I need an answer to that. Oh yeah, I see that in myself now too that you mentioned it. And also, if you have any testimonies, any experiences that you want to share about how this is supporting you in your life, how this is supporting you moving on your journey, I would love to hear those as well. Okay. And so the last thing before we go, I want to introduce you to Courageous Voices. I'm not sure why this picture isn't being displayed. However, the Courageous Voices is a program that I have. It's about women who are willing to be courageous and tell their story. Have you ever been voiceless, afraid to express who you are and what you want? Have you found yourself in fear or paralyzed? And what was a defining moment in your life where you said enough is enough and you discovered your voice? Enough is enough. I'm now going on this healing path to really uncover and stand in my truth. That's who I'm looking for. Those are the women who I'm looking for to really be in this anthology, to share your story. So I just wanted to share a little snippet of that with you to kind of get your mind and your heart ready. This is going to be coming up very, very soon, and I'll be announcing a conference call, an informational conference call, so you can all get the good details and really stand in your truth and tell your story. And so that is it for tonight, everybody. I don't know why this picture isn't being displayed either. However, it's a picture of me, but you see me right here on the screen. I'm talking to you. So that's all that was. So again, your next decision can change your destiny. So what are you intending to do? What's your intention, beloved? What do you want? What do you desire? Because your next decision to meet that desire can change your destiny. We all have the power to create each day. All right. This is my website. This is my email and my phone number. So please reach out to me if you need me. I will have your heart assignment in the email along with this course, slideshow, PowerPoint, and your meditation for the week. Thank you all so much again for being on this journey of my right to heal with me. I am so loving this journey, being on it with you, and I'm so grateful for you. And our mantra, of course, is when I heal, women heal, the world heals. I'll see you all next week on week 4. Bye.